How can we include the voices of women who choose to stay home and are invisible to the labor market, the economy, and the discourse on feminism?
That's a good question. It's a long-standing question. I find myself the voice of history here. It's a very weird, very strange feeling. But one of the complaints against Ms. Magazine from the very beginning that we could never rid ourselves of was that we weren't paying any attention to women who took care of their homes. And at the time, I thought it was because the women who were writing about these things had the privilege of being able to be rebels, that they weren't, struggling from day to day, or they weren't cut off the way homemakers were. But I do think we should ask ourselves whether we really don't assume that education and working outside the home and all these things make you more important. I think maybe then the whole question of childcare, which Richard Nixon vetoed, since I'm going to be history, I want to remind you that it went all through the Congress, and it was put on his desk to sign, and he vetoed it. And when you think what a difference that would have made to women who stayed home and did work in the home, you can imagine where we would be today. And the other principle that is worth thinking about is there a way to reward women financially for the work they do in the home? Because it's a vicious circle, obviously. And I don't know, I'd be interested in your efforts, in your equal pay efforts. Does that come up?
No, I mean, that hasn't come up because obviously the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the legal requirements apply to employers, so there's some legal limitations in terms of that law. But I do think that it's really important for us to be supportive of uncoerced choices, whatever they are, if they're decisions to stay home, if they're decisions to work. I think that what we often battle is that the decisions to stay home are because there isn't access to, for some women, there isn't access to affordable quality childcare. They have horrible transportation situations where they have to take buses to take children to childcare that's not reliable, and then they have extremely both inflexible work schedules that are also unreliable. So they show up and they suddenly aren't needed, and so they can't plan for childcare or education or medical. So it becomes challenging to be in the workforce if you're, for many women. So we're really intent on removing those barriers, and but then supporting whatever choice women have, as long as it's not the result of that kind of coercion.